Since the United Nations would never invite me to berate them, I shall have to do it here. So we will start. My message to the United Nations is, you are being watched. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be here. I should be out at the local community college taking third-age classes like every other respectable middle-class lady of my age. I should be hosting coffee mornings to raise money for the local animal shelter. I should be doing more laundry and more vacuuming. Yet, I have to sit in front of this computer speaking out because, in your hubris and in your insatiable desire for power, your attempt to terrify the developed world into self-imposed poverty and social backwardness, you are initiating a catastrophe which is heading to a tipping point the like of which even you will not be able to control. How dare you? You are stealing the childhood of millions. My grandchildren and their friends are exposed daily to calamitous visions blighting their hopes and their dreams. There's already been one child suicide because of your support for doom-filled predictions. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones, because I at least can choose sensible friends with whom to associate. There are kids at school who can't do that. They're forced into classes where they're indoctrinated with apocalyptic baloney, and the sensible ones, the questioning ones, the ones who can see the holes in the arguments, the assertions trumpeted as facts, the outright lies, the inconsistencies and the scientific ignorance, they are the ones who cannot choose. Instead, they're browbeaten into silence and have to listen quietly to the mantras repeated by their propagandized teachers and their programmed classmates. Intellectual debate is suffering. Democracy is dying. Entire governmental systems are being eaten up by unproven ideologies. We are in the middle of a mass totalitarianism, and all you can do is virtue signal and chant slogans. How dare you? For nearly 300 years, various thinkers, starting in the 18th century with Malthus, have prophesied doom based on their incomplete scientific evidence. How dare you say that this time you know it all? You say you have it right this time by picking only the scientific evidence that suits you, and sometimes from sources that have been proved corrupt and self-interested. How dare you treat us, the people, in this way? You believe you're doing this for our own good, but go and tell that to those women scratching a living out of the unforgiving African soil, where the only thing between their society and mass starvation is the safari tourism brought to their countries by airplanes that are not only feeding them, but, just by the way, saving the lions and the gorillas. Without that, there would be a mass extinction. How dare you? So a return to peasant farming and the destruction of mass communications is not acceptable to me and shouldn't be acceptable to anyone else over the age of 16. And the exploitation of children with mental disabilities should not be acceptable to the entire Western world. If we were sane, how dare you pretend that you care about the world while you line up to get your public exposure and your credibility from shaking hands with a child who's being paraded around like some sort of dancing bear pulled on the chain of those who control her. How dare you pretend that the ramblings of one disturbed individual who has visions of carbon dioxide emanating from the mouths of her fellow human beings is an answer to the real problems of pollution which this planet faces. How dare you ignore the technical solutions which God, or evolution, has granted us the mental capabilities to invent? Malthus thought we couldn't grow enough to feed the world population, At the time, that was about 600 million. It is now 7,600 million, and more people are better fed than at any previous time in human history because of technical solutions. How dare you tell us we've run out of ideas? You are failing us. You, the UN, an organisation which is supposed to get together to solve our human problems. Instead, you let Saudi Arabia buy its way into the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. And you, the United Nations, have Bangladesh, Burkina Faso and Cameroon sitting on the Human Rights Council. You are a set of overpaid political puppets fighting not for the good of the world, not for peace, not for development, but for influence. The UN is a grouping of political factions which have joined forces to bully other political factions and which have discovered that one way to do it is to use a little girl, because hiding behind a little girl is the answer to criticism. Who could tell a little girl that this really is all wrong, that she really should be back in school where she could learn something? Who would tell her that? Well, since the UN aren't prepared to do it, and Barack Obama and the Pope, then I suppose as usual it's left to a little old lady, which is what I am, so I get the job. You are about to destroy the lives of my genetic legacy with your hysteria, and I won't let you do it. And like many others, we are waking up, and we will never forgive you. If you want to donate or contact, the information will be rolling over the Graniopteryx as I speak. Please like, subscribe and share because it does help with the algorithm. If you visit my channel on YouTube and one day discover that I've disappeared without warning, you'll still find me on BitChute or Minds. Just go to either of those platforms and do a search for Graniopteryx. If you're already watching this on BitChute or Minds, good for you. Meanwhile, if you're watching this on YouTube, remember that you must keep checking the subscribe and bell icons because occasionally they reset. Till next time.